Studio audience. Nathan Sanders, Jamie Stillman, thank you guys for coming in from Iberia Bank. We can't do it without you kids. And hey, I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Be thinking about this as we get started. Jamie, Nathan, what did you have any outlook or any predictions for 2018? Be thinking about that right now. But hey, another thing I'd like you to do is open this up and share. Can you share it onto your stream? Can you share it, kids?
I can do that. Love sharing on Facebook.
Michelle, I think I saw you right beside me at the party Wednesday night, and I never did get to talk to you, so I apologize.
Hey, why you reckon that was, Charlie?
I appreciate you coming. So, again, thank you. Today our sponsor is Iberia Mortgage. We got two of my favorites from over there, Jamie Stillman. Hey, are we going to get to our goal, Jamie Stillman?
Yes, sir.
Are you really?
I plan on it.
Have you picked up something new, man?
Some potential stuff. We're working on it.
Nathan Sanders, my guy, Mr. Woodbury, maybe the biggest UT ball guy we know right now. I don't know if y'all can get a coach or not, but hey,
I'm still a fan.
Maybe you can.
Still a fan.
Ronnie Martin, James Peeler, thank you guys.
Harrison Yonts is on here. Hey, our guy, how Yonts? Our guy, hey, we're closing tomorrow, buddy. All right, hey, a couple years ago, I look back because I made these 2015 bold predictions. And I went on there, man, I was terrible. Wasn't I, Kathleen? I was awful. I talked to my buddy Ronnie Martin about this back in the day, about these predictions that I was making, but I was terrible. Was I terrible? I made Cousin Charlie go back and watch how terrible I was on that YouTube video. So,
were you terrible as far as an actor or predictions?
my delivery, my everything was pitiful that day. It was terrible. It was god awful. It sucked. I sucked. So I'm giving Cousin Charlie hope. But anyway, late 2014, early 2015, that's been what, almost 3 years ago? Is that 3 years ago? I was predicting new construction would get to $150 a foot. You only shared this one time, Nathan. How many times have you shared this?
He's our number one fan. He's our favorite fan.
You only get, hey, if you share the stream, by the way, we will go back and we will pick one person to go eat dinner at the Alley on Main. So share the stream, Brad Elam.
Adam Hall.
Adam Hall, I would love for you. Adam is an Old South guy. He could probably give us a lot of insight on what he sees in 2018. But I predicted in 2014, 2015, new construction would get up to $150 a foot. And people were like, dude, come on, man, you crazy. That ain't going to happen.
Well, let's talk about what was it at that particular point.
Man, I think it was back down up
the
to
90s?
No, it's probably $100, $105 a foot, going up to maybe 110. But I'm like, man, there ain't no way we should get to 150. But I was looking, and I was seeing how we were building on lots that were so depressed in cost. I mean, they were so cheap.
30,000,
and I'm like, okay,
40,000,
well, next year when we get here, and I started calculating, Joey said, every time we go up $10,000, that's $3 a foot. I started calculating where I thought we were going to be, and I'm like, within 5 years, we're going to be at $150 a foot. Have you done a deal for anybody at $150 a foot, Jamie?
Absolutely.
Have you really?
Yes, sir.
So I do know this for certain. Our new construction stuff in Harvest Woods in the 140. If you do a pre-sale out there, we're at 140. So we've gotten there. So it made me think, hey, I want to talk about what I see in 2018. What do we see? And I'm looking in my little crystal ball. I've got all the answers right here, and I've got a bunch of friends. Oh, our girl kindly shared this. Well, I don't think she shared it onto her page with all those millions of people. But anyway, put it on that rich page. All them people on there. I think you got like 1 million viewers on there, kindly. So I've talked to some people. I've gotten some insight. I'm seeing what they think. But our buddy, I do want to say, Derek Godwin, I do want to give him some props. He was just here. He was buying some vitamins, I think. Vitamin water.
Hey, he's a very sharp guy, though. He's got
Derek Godwin?
got a lot of depth to him.
Man, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, other than you, man.
Thank you.
But he's an engineer, and he works for railroads. So railroad companies are, they can really see leading indicators because of the transportation. Do you understand what I'm saying, Jamie? About they can see it, and they're already starting to see a slowdown but they feel like the slowdown is going to hit in 2019.
Is that because of all the goods that they move over the open road? I mean, materials, cars, products. So they're a big.
Yeah, there's such a leading indicator because
Yeah.
they see the transportation, and then he's talking about how many cars are now being built up. 6 months of inventory of cars that are not being sold, and they're not slowing down production. Kindly, thank you for showing. Kindly tell all your people to like Good Time Tommy on the Facebook. So we do appreciate it. If anybody needs a loan, call our guy Jamie Stillman right here. We need to put Jamie's information in here, but I appreciate everybody getting on. So 2018 Weatherman, I have talked so much. Is there anything that you would like to share with us?
No.
Do
No,
you just,
I actually, yes. As you go into and you'll get into predictions, and there's anytime you look at an outlook as doom and gloom, you always have to be cautious, but you also have to be positive too. And you have to go into everything you do with some kind of positivity. If not, you'll always go two steps back. So even in a bad market, there are things that can be gained. So I don't want this to be like it's a doom and gloom, or I don't know what you're going to say, but it doesn't mean that. It means you need to shift your attitude for the situations you may be coming into.
all righty, Weatherman, let's get started. Hey, starting off with my great friend, Mr. Ronnie Martin, the foremost authority when it comes to commercial banking. Hey, we're talking commercial banking. We ain't talking competitors right now. We're talking Ronnie Martin. If you ever need a commercial loan, Ronnie Martin, hands down, is bar none the best in the business. Here's what he said. Damn, I'm not good at reading out loud in front of people, but I can do it. My prediction is that we will see the greatest number of appraisal challenges since the recovery. Have you seen a lot of appraisal problems?
A little bit.
Ronnie's predicting that we're going to see a great number of appraisal challenges since the recovery. And I think he was saying 2011 is where that's where he's talking with recovery. Appraisals that fall short of contract sales prices will be a more common occurrence, especially in dirt and new construction. Inflation and the cost of raw material for development and construction will put pricing pressure on sales comparables in the short run. Let me give you an example. I like to take complicated things, make it simple.
There you go.
Creeks Bend, we're coming out of our most current section. We got a few homes out there, so we're looking back. See, appraisals look back 6 months. So when we sell out of that new section, we're going to have automatic built-in price increases from land. When he's saying land and dirt, that's what he's talking about. That new section, automatically, we're going to have higher lot prices. And because of that, we don't have sales that reflect the higher. Almost every time we go into a new section, we have appraisal problems.
Yes, $5,000 right off
maybe
the gate.
$8,000,
Yeah.
maybe $10,000. We're immediately going to come into an appraisal issue right off, because there is nothing that is sold for what the new stuff is going to sell for, and that's an appraiser's going back 6 months, and that's what he's looking at. Is there anything else? I think that's all. Ron, if you want to add anything on there. Hey, my good buddy Tony Woodall's on here. Everybody, tell Brother Woodall happy birthday. I think that guy's 40. My buddy Scott Nagy, our new Murfreesboro resident, who is a brilliant mind as well, is logged on here. So, Scott, if you've got anything you'd like to say, please let us know. But every time we go into new sections, it gets very challenging to handle these appraisals, because how do you think appraisals, they're doing a market approach. They're not doing a cost approach, right, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
So what they've got to see is they've got to see other sales that are comparable for them to give that value. So almost every time, we've got to be savvy enough going into these new sections to know. But hey, think about this. There's a lot of new things that are coming up along with ours at Creeks Bend. There's a lot of new developments that have started where John Floyd, we eat breakfast with him several times a week, don't we?
He's our new guy.
He's one of our best friends other than Derek Godwin. But he's been talking about these last few years, he's been able to make a lot more money because he bought these lots so long ago.
Yes.
You know, he's still been building foreclosed lots or very discounted lots. Now he's got to go into what today's market is. So what Ronnie's saying, his costs are going to go up, but what he's saying is, I don't know if we're going to. John Floyd is saying this. We need to put this in there. John Floyd does not believe he's going to be able to keep passing through these premiums to the customer. He's not going to be able to go up on his prices, he's saying. So that's one person's outlook.
Yeah.
Let's
we also
move.
got to think about materials. Materials, we've been affected by a lot of storms, and then now there's a lot of cost. Drywall's going up. Different things are going up. And so we're starting to get impacted by that too. Lot cost and material cost as well.
We're moving right along to the great one, Belinda Arender. She's got like 4 things. Woo. Hope I can get all this stuff out. So I need, hey, y'all can shine right here, Nathan. Number 1, production. We're expecting to have an extremely busy market in 2018. We do not expect a slowdown.
Woo! I like her.
Number 2, rates. Rates are projected to rise in 2018. I'm seeing estimates.
Lost me.
Well, we can ask Jamie this question. I'm seeing estimates from 4.5 to 5 by the end of 2018. Have you guys seen the same thing? Again, we got Nathan Sanders and Jamie Stillman in the live studio audience. So give us your opinion on that.
Belinda's dead on. I mean, that's what we've been hearing from her and from other people.
So let me ask you guys this. Let's just say the median price in our market is $247,625. I don't know what it is, but how would that look on 30-year fixed rate if it were to go? Where's the rate today?
Well, you got to look at a couple of factors. I mean, if you're talking about a conventional loan or
Yeah,
FHA,
let's give me the like they do on
FHA. Yeah,
real
FHA.
ballpark. You know, there's still been right around under 4, a little bit over 4, depending on score and that kind of stuff.
So if it goes up a full point, how much do you think per month that's going to affect them at $250,000?
Everything in front of me to calculate.
Just
exactly,
off the top of your head.
Probably $50 or so.
$50. So we can still probably sustain that, even if rates go. We got Don Day on here, the legendary speaker / realtor. Thanks for getting on here, Double D. Products, programs, expecting to see more products released in 2018. In 2017, we saw new products released as well as some agency guide changes that were positive. So, Jamie, Nathan, is there anything that you see that you could tell our live audience? What new products could you see coming into the market?
There's a lot of stuff that's projected every year, so we'll kind of
Throw something out there. Throw something out there. Gamble.
We had a couple things, a couple jumbo products and a doctor loan that came along this year. They're a little bit more aggressive than they've been in the past. Kind of the changes that Belinda's talking about with Fannie Mae, with their back-end debt ratio going up to 50 as opposed to 45. So we've seen some changes already, and they're always pushing to see what else can be done.
Any 100%?
Yeah, I mean you've got RD, you've got a doctor loan that's 100%.
Okay.
And you've got your down payment assistance stuff with THDA. So
Okay.
A lot of stuff like that.
So right now, if you're somebody, let's say in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, most people are 3.5 to 5%. Well, how many FHA deals do you do? Percentage wise.
Personally, myself, probably about 40.
40%.
Our office does a lot.
Okay, what is a better product right now? 3.5% FHA or a 3% conventional?
All depends on the customer. There's not really one I'd say.
What if they could go with a conventional loan?
It's a lot of times a better choice.
It is. Is their payment a lot lower? If it was the same price, same credit, same everything, do you think how much of a difference would the payment be on FHA versus conventional?
Biggest thing you're going to run into on the 3% is exactly where credit score is and what that mortgage insurance does to the payment. So it's really customer specific on who it works for.
Is mortgage insurance still killing people? Has it come down enough to where it's not as big of a factor?
Well, it's not as bad as it was. It's not really. I wouldn't say it's killing people. It's just part of the process.
Is it going to keep coming down or?
I haven't heard any indicators one way or the other.
Hey, we're putting Jamie on the hot spot. Thank
Jamie's
you, buddy.
like, man,
hey,
I should even
people
come.
get to see your knowledge, man. You're showing out right now.
Yeah.
New number 4 from Belinda Arender. New loan limits have been released. $494,500 is the new Fannie Mae limit for Rutherford County. So tell us exactly who wants to tell us what that means to our dum-dums out there. Nathan or Jamie, who wants to go?
Doesn't that mean you don't have to have it? Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm an agent, and I feel like agents should have a little bit of knowledge. Is this keep it up under the jumbo limits?
100%.
It's okay.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I
Are you ready to give your bold prediction for 2018?
It's churning.
Is it your cousin Charlie? You've been in this business 2 weeks. Is there something you'd like to predict? I'm going to move along. I'm moving along. Weatherman, Kathleen, Lisa, would you like to predict something? I'm the greatest. I appreciate it. We're going to do more deals. We're going to do more deals this year than we are in 18 than we did in 17. Ain't that right? My good buddy, Dan Elam. Here now, Dan is an intellect scholar, very smart wordsmith, and I believe what Dan Elam says. I take notice of what he says. I believe a lot. I'm really in agreement with what he says for the most part. Another good year in 2018. But he feels like people buying blindly will decrease. And what he means by that is people they're just so scared they'll just buy anything.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Absolutely.
I mean, in these multiple offers, they get crazy. He believes that it's going to be a year for more skilled people. Now, he was talking about skilled people. We're talking about realtors, mortgage people, builders, investors, also consumers. Because this upcoming year, prices they've gone up since 2011 or 12, year after year after year after year. At some point, we have cycles, correct? Have you ever seen it not slow down, Nathan?
No, never seen it.
It's now, unless it's Bitcoin. But he believes 2018, it's going to be time for the skilled people. What that tells me is people are going to make mistakes. These builders that go out there and they buy 10 lots and they don't have enough money if things don't sell immediately. Right. You're going to have to be more skilled this year. Won't be as easy, says Dan Elam. It will not be as easy. Now, I don't think he thinks the sales are going to slow down. He just don't think it'll be as easy. Prices will increase. He does believe prices will continue to increase. He thinks this, though. I have started to see this. Time on the market will increase. That means, you list a house. Hey, there was times where we would list something and we had multiple offers within hours. We would actually start telling people, if it does not sell within a week, you're overpriced. He thinks you're going to start to see a longer time on market. Now, we didn't really talk enough about price points because I still believe under $300,000. I don't know if we talked about that enough. He still believes we're in a great market. He thinks the rates may tick up just a little bit, but they're going to remain favorable. He thinks the inventory is going to change. This was interesting. He thinks there's going to be new looks in Murfreesboro because if you look at houses today that are new, there's a lot of houses other than some little things done on the inside that look just like they did back in 2008, yep. 2007. They're building the same. He thinks Murfreesboro is going to start coming up with some new looks, maybe more narrow lots, maybe smaller lots. It's going to completely change the way houses are built.
We've already seen it with our apartment complexes, so it's already started a trend. And even some of our office complex, there are a lot of new looks in Murfreesboro now.
That's right. That's right. My buddy Nagy, I mean, his place is phenomenal. So I think the people that are moving, there's a lot of people under 40 that are moving to this area. At one time, I think people did not have the same certainty to buy these craftsman-style houses or these farmhouse houses. Now, I think you're going to see new ideas slowly creep in here. Now, remember, everything is based off certainty. And if people don't feel great about buying something, they won't move as quickly. Murfreesboro does not move quickly when it comes to new ideas, but as more people are sprinkling into our market, it's slowly starting to change. Cousin Charlie, you got your bold prediction?
Still working on mine.
Are you going to have one?
I will have one.
Jamie, are you ready? Or do you want me to go to my good friend Bud George, one of the top agents, along with Dan Elam in our market? So when these people say things, Bud is phenomenal.
I like him. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Let's talk to Bud. Roll the tape.
Man, Bud Bud is so smart. Bud is so much smarter than me. I can't even write down what he said. I can't even comprehend how smart that guy is. So, Bud George believes the same number of houses will be sold. He does believe it's a struggle under 300,000 because there's not enough inventory. So if you're out there and you got a house under $300,000, there's a good chance you're going to be able to sell it. You should feel very certain about that. Right, Kathleen?
That's right.
He believes there's not enough sellers in the market to increase the overall sales amount, the sales volume, or the sale numbers of houses. He believes it'll be similar, but there's just not enough inventory to get that going. Where am I? Prices will continue to rise at a slower level. They're not going to go up like they've been going up. 450,000 and above. He believes that we could come into a little bit of a slowdown there unless our city, the gateway projects, all that, start to bring in more white-collar jobs. Anybody else? Y'all want to talk about that? Does anybody want to elaborate on what we?
I think Bud's right. In my opinion, I feel like as far as one of the predictions is because of the higher our lot costs are getting due to the retention ponds and all the excavating costs, that 400 to 500 or 550 range, there's going to be a lot of inventory because.
Can you? I want you just give me an idea.
Go ahead.
Because I think you can talk. You can shed some insight on this because what you're talking about. There's a lot of costs that are going up in development that has nothing to do with the land. So people, you may not be able to get a lot more money for your land than you could have 4 or 5 years
exactly
ago.
Right.
So why is that, man?
Because the land acquisition cost is everybody always thinks land is so high. The land acquisition cost is nowhere near the development cost in a lot of these places. So where people would go out and didn't mind spending a couple $1 million for 150 acres of land, if you don't get that cost down, your excavating cost is probably doubled to what people are used to.
Has that gone up a lot in the last
Oh,
couple?
God, yeah. It's not only gone up, but the demand is so high. So it's not that there's hard to find anybody. We have some local guys that have been doing it for years and years and years. They're not even taking on work. And guess what? If you get them, they're putting a price tag that's so ridiculous because they don't really need it, and it's just to get the job. And so the retention ponds there's a lot. There's some changes come up with all that stuff, and so those things are costing a lot of money. So now where a lot used to cost $55,000 to a builder, you're fixing to start seeing lots be a minimum $80,000 to $100,000 in developments, depending on how nice the development is. So now you add in $100,000 lot cost at a 3,000 square foot house. It used to be $399, now it's $499. And so you're having the same style of house at a higher price, which makes there's a lot of inventory out there because you have more to choose from. So you're going to have to start doing some pretty cool things to your product to make them stick out and not all the same houses we've seen in Murfreesboro for how many years?
Man, I think it goes back to the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, they look so familiar. My good buddy David Stagg just got on here. Please like David. I need you to like Trevor Skipper. Like my video, man. Got anything else with me?
No,
man, that was brilliant. You articulated that.
Well,
like
a lot of people can go to the codes office and look at the new developments that have been applied for. It's not only doing that; it's taking so long. Yep. So if you bought a piece of raw land today and went to develop it, it may be 2 years before you ever put a house on it. So try to figure that cost in. How much you're making now, and you're trying to predict what the market's going to be in 2 years. So at what time do people quit buying land because they're afraid of what they're going to have in it, and they don't want to get stuck with $5 million worth of product?
Our buddy J.R. Eastman said, high lot cost equals no lower priced housing. That is exactly, I mean, so he's right. I mean, we're really going away from, I mean, your starter homes now are condos, or $210,000, $215,000. Had lunch with our super nerd friend Scott Abernathy, my favorite property manager, the guru when it comes to property management in this town. He's got a good pulse on whenever he knows whenever like things are taking longer to rent or whenever there's a lot of demand, he can kind of predict where things are going. Now, everybody, think about this. We've been going up probably since 2012. And we know historically there are cycles in the economy that last, 5 to 10 years, maybe 7, 8 years, somewhere in there. So the closer we get to those numbers historically, the more uncertain some people begin to be. Right, Kathleen? Uncertainty. Scott Abernathy, he is starting to maybe sense a little uncertainty about the way things have been going. His quote, "The sky is not falling, but it's starting to sprinkle." Now, he's talking more from he's a genius. I mean, he's smart as can be. He's talking more for an investor / renter. And he is, he is like the president of some national organization.
Very smart.
He's very, very smart. So what he's telling you to do is beware about what people are paying for this. So let's just say if you're buying houses, Cousin Charlie, over in Evergreen Farms, and you were saying right now today that thing's renting for $1,300 a month, and I'm at that number, I'm going to pay $195,000, and I should be okay. Well, what he's been saying is that $1,300 a month may actually only be $1,175. He feels like things have kind of inflated, and he doesn't know how real that is. So you got whenever you're buying a house and you're basing your rents off of it, you got to be careful about taking too much of what it's renting for, because he's seen a slight pullback. It's becoming a little harder to rent things than he used to.
He did say days on the market were up, which what that really means is prices go down for the rental market. So he did say he's seen his days on the market go up quite a bit.
And, he did say something else, and I never did think about this, but all these fancy places that they're building, they're renting these apartments, do you know what you're really competing against? Condo owners, townhome owners. Would you rather live in a townhome or an apartment that has all these amenities? So, that's the one thing I'd take into, because the more of these lifestyle apartments that come, I think they can really affect, unless you just want to own your home. That would be your win if you're in a condo. I get to own it. But, man, these apartments, man, have you been in them, Nathan? Have I seen you over there? Do you have a secret apartment over there?
No, you haven't seen me over there.
Well, my buddy Nagy just moved to one over there in the Gateway, and it's phenomenal. It's got a lounge area. You can hang out, ping pong tables. They got a place where you can wash your dog, try your dog, work out. It's amazing how nice these places are. It's like, damn, I could live here, but she won't move over there, and the dog won't go over there. So hey, are you ready, Jamie?
I don't know if there's a lot of bold predictions left, man.
I'm about to give some.
I feel pretty educated on what you're talking about.
I'm about to give some. So, do you have anything?
I don't think I have anything different to add. I was just really intrigued.
Oh, man, the best part of this is saying something, putting it out there. It's what's called the bold predictions. Nathan, have you got any bold predictions?
I'm with Jamie. We've got some smart people, but I think we're going to see the market continue as it is because Rutherford County is the greatest, but we're above the national average. I think we're going to see that trend continue probably through midsummer, and then after that is when we'll see things begin to slow back and plateau. We still have jobs coming in, companies coming in, gateways being developed. We're just very fortunate to be in Rutherford County, so we won't hit a bottom like some of the other areas might see.
So you feel good about 2018?
I feel great about 2018.
Okay. Weatherman, do you want to go?
Yeah, mine's real quick, and I got this crazy theory that I still think a lot of our impact has been because how popular Nashville is. And I think Nashville is really on the map now, like a small Atlanta, Las Vegas. So when people start coming to Nashville on vacations, where before it was just a little honky-tonk town, now it's big time. And so the only thing that I think will start to hurt the outerline areas is our interstates. And they're so bad right now, and the commute is so terrible. That may hinder some of the next growth, in my opinion. So I think we're within 30 minutes to an hour of Nashville on a bad day. So once you start going to the outline areas, Manchester's, Ashland City, farther out, I think people will start they'll just pay the bigger price and move closer. And so, even the Manchesters have been spiking up in price, and I think some of those areas may start to dip before we dip, like the next county over. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
What a man. He's smart today.
He thought about that.
Smart.
A lot of thoughts.
All right, well, I'm going to break this down into a couple different predictions. I'm going to start out because I really think whenever you're talking about real estate in Murfreesboro, people, location. Well, I think Murfreesboro is all about price point. Whenever the recovery started in 2011, 2012, Wall Street was allowed to start buying individual houses. And I don't think they could do that until the recovery started. I think they passed something where these hedge funds or Wall Street, whatever you want to call them, equity funds, they could take their money and they could come here and they could start buying up houses. And you know what? It helped the recovery. They were coming in here and they were buying them. They started out buying, I remember something, they might come in off list price under, they have a special formula, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage or something like that. They got it down to a science of what they will buy. They come in here and they start buying it, and it helped kind of build a bottom. And we started to recover, but they're only looking at a certain price, okay? Back then it was probably $165,000 and under. So they started buying, and they kept buying. And more came, and they multiplied. And now the reason why so many people can't buy a home under $200,000
They own all of them.
is because they're buying them all. They're owned. I mean, when I say, I'm not kidding, they bought over 1,000 homes, maybe 1,500 homes since this started. They bought a lot of foreclosures, short sales. They would buy them off individuals. So they've done very well. They've done extremely well. And they're getting more and more confident about our market. I've talked to them. See, whenever I talk to like an Erin Kruger about a deal, she represents one of them, I'll pick her brain. Hey, are you guys about to start selling anything? Because that's a leading indicator. If they are starting to sell, it means they're getting out of our market and going somewhere else. So I asked her, hey, fishing, would you be interested? Do you think they'd be interested in selling anything? Oh, no. We're going to be here 5 to 7 more years is what their plan is. So now they've gone from 165, 175. Hey, they're making their way up to $250,000. So what this means, if you're a consumer out there, how can you compete with a cash offer? Limited terms. They're not going to beat you up over home inspection. They make it a lot easier. See, buyers have so much emotion. They're going to make an offer, and they've got these. They're worried about protecting themselves because they're uncertain, Kathleen. They don't have enough certainty. With these hedge funds, that's what I call them. They have a lot of certainty. They know, hey, we got all this money. They've got people going out and finding houses, and they've got people going out and raising money to help them buy more houses. So what I'm getting at is they keep raising their price points. They're up to $250,000. So if you're looking to buy a house right now and you're like, oh, we want to buy a $250,000 house, you're competing with probably 3, 4, 5, 6 cash buyers is what they are. Makes it a lot harder for you to get that deal. Makes it a lot harder because the seller, just like the buyer, really doesn't care about the seller's needs. The seller doesn't care about who the buyer is. So they're going to sell to whoever gives them the best deal with a highest probability of closing. So what I'm getting at, under $300,000 is going to get even more competitive. It's going to get harder. So you're going to have to know how to navigate. You're going to really, like Dan said, you're going to need a professional that you can listen and trust. The best chance for you to buy a house under $250,000 is having a relationship with somebody that can get you in before it hits the market.
And you have to be an aggressive buyer, and they're saying that very lightly. So not telling anybody what to do, but you have to be more aggressive than the other 5 people you're competing against, and one of them may be a cash offer.
There's a good chance. I mean, there's a very, very good chance. And I really feel like they're paying market value. They're not discounting their offers.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving what other people would be offering, but they're giving cash. They don't beat you up over the home inspection. So if you know of a house that you kind of like, or you do like it, and you're wanting to be under $250,000, you don't have long to decide. So that's going to continue to, since there's such limited really availability at that price point, we're going to continue to see those prices go up. Like Stephen was saying, you cannot reproduce that price point. You go out and you buy a piece of land, even if you get it very, very cheap,
Right.
you've still got to develop it, and the development costs have gone up so much. Really, to make this simple, a builder really wants, let's just make it simple, they want their lot after development, after everything, to be 20% of the sales price. So you could almost be given a piece of land and the lot's $40,000 after development.
Yeah.
I mean, so what's 20? That's, what would that be? 180. So what that would be, somewhere around,
Yeah.
you know, 200,000, 40%. Yeah, that's about $200,000. That's when you're given the land. So my next point is, people, I don't know how clear, am I being clear? What I'm saying is, we cannot reproduce things that are going to be built brand new, hardly.
We're not going to be able to build. There's not a product out there. We don't have a lot to put them on to be under $200,000.
And we're not going to have it.
We're not
It ain't
gonna have
it ain't because farmers are asking too much for their land. It's because of the cost that go along with it. That ain't going to change.
Somebody could give you 300 acres of land and say, I tell you what, I'll give you the land, you excavate it, you get it ready, and then let me get on the last part of it, you can pay me then. There's still not any money in it. I mean, it's still going to be hard to get in that percentage.
Well, what it's doing is it's pushing everybody that wants to develop and build houses. They've got to go out there and they've got to put lots on the market at the cheapest you're going to find, $65,000.
Eastman made something pretty bold.
What did he say?
Mark it down is what he said. We won't peak until 2021. We'll be right here in 2021. We're going to bring this right back up.
Tricia Moore, there's only so much land and demand is increasing, so it's basic economics. Well, I believe there's a little bit of fluff in this, because there's a hedge fund that have come in here that's kind of changed our market. It's kind of, what is the word? Artificial sweetener. They've kind of come in here and they bought all this stuff. You know, back in the old days, we didn't have these people doing that. So what I'm getting at, you've looked at lots lately for people.
Oh, yes.
What do you say their lot cost?
$85,000.
$85,000 for lots. Do you know what kind of house you're going to have to buy?
$500,000.
Yes. So what I would tell you is, there's going to be a huge abundance of supply in the 450 and up.
Unless we can get our appraisals down to do a 2,000 square foot product and be at 350. But you know what happens then? We hit brick walls with appraisals and banks. But if we went by not worried about, and it happens in other markets around the world and around the United States, but we don't have a product that we can put on a lot at 2,000 square foot on 80,000 and be at 350, and people be happy with it.
You know, I hear we eat breakfast with Roy Frazier, our preferred insurance guy, by the way. And he's like, why won't they go out there and put these single-family houses up, you know, for us old-timers? And he found one. He's like, I ain't going to pay $160 a foot for it. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you want it, you look at what it costs. It's going to cost you probably $25 more a foot to do a single-family or a single level.
Yes.
So here's what I believe. I believe builders in this 450 and up price point, 400 and up, I think they're going to have to get more creative. They're going to have to learn how to cut some costs, because they're not going to be able to just keep passing on, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll sell it for this, and I'll make this much money. Now builders are going to have to sharpen up to keep their margins where they were. They're probably going to start contracting. So for them to be able to make money, I don't think you'll see quite as much things like there may be more slabs out there. You're going to see more slabs, I think. You may see some of the amenities being pulled out of the house. Hey, somebody's angry. We got some angry people on here. Who's angry? I think builders are going to have to become more creative. Like what Dan was saying, they're going to have to do something. Like I'll say this, whenever I go to a big builder, like a D.R. Horton or some of those, man, their stuff is very basic, but they do cool stuff. Somehow it just looks cool. It might be on a slab, it may be 10-foot ceilings, but I mean, they figured out a way to make it look more attractive.
You ready for a bold prediction that anyone's going to like?
Well, hold on. I also believe builders are going to have to become more accommodating in the upcoming year. In this price point, the reason why, like Tricia was saying, supply and demand, there's going to be a lot more supply out there because developers are putting this product out there to where we're 400 and up. So how many people in Murfreesboro are going to be able to buy $400,000 houses? Go ahead, Weatherman. I'm sorry.
I see in that we're going to have a big, huge inventory issue next year with $400,000-$500,000 house. So what you're going to see is the dreaded pre-sales coming back. I don't think it's going to be your normal pre-sale. I think our mom and pop builders and our builders under 50 houses a year are going to start having A, B, and C. And we have a builder now that does that. So it'll be a limited pre-sale, but what happens is nobody wants to do pre-sales now, so they're building them out and then selling them. Well, we're about to get hit with a bunch of sales. And so then once the market gets even heavier and heavier, then you're going to start seeing builders say, I don't want to do that, give me a pre-sale, and then you'll see the pre-sales come back.
Well, to wrap this up, you know, I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people. Me and Tim Dutton talk every morning. He's good friends with Bob Parks. Talking to Floyd this morning. These people, just like J.R. Eastman said, they don't see any problems coming for the next few years. But for some reason, and maybe it's because of knowing economic cycles, the way they historically perform, I don't feel as certain about things as other people do. I think it's going to get harder. Unless so many people are moving here, like Scott Nagy, we went out to eat the other night, me, him, and Brittany, and he bought our dinner, and he looked at it, and he's like, man, my breakfast costs more than all this stuff. So unless people are just coming here, which, you know, I haven't seen enough to justify that, I'm nervous about where prices are getting to. Nervous. Very nervous about $450,000 houses where we're building 10 of them a year, where I feel like that price point's getting too high, especially if rates go up. So I'm a little more cautious, maybe looking into 2019. But in real estate, you know, whenever you start something, you could be 6, 8, 12 months away from it ending. So that's kind of my outlook. So I think we're fine 2018. I think you can't go wrong under 300,000. But the real risk I'm seeing is the 4, let's just say the 4 and up. I mean, I'm starting to get concerned about how much stuff it's going out there. But, you know, maybe we can build it. Maybe the market will absorb it. But what else was I going to say? Oh, one last thing. If you're buying in that range of $400,000, 400 and up, I think over the last 3 years or so, you really didn't have much negotiating power at all. I would much rather buy an existing home that I like as opposed to a pre-sale. You're going to get a much better deal off an off a spec home.
You're right.
You're going to get. I mean, the builders can make up their margins on those on the pre-sales where they can upsell you on things. So I would buy an existing I would buy a spec home. Let's see what Tricia Moore says. If builders start pricing themselves out of the Murfreesboro market, when could they find themselves in a situation where they got a lot of money tied into something?
That's where the pre-sales come in, Tricia.
You know, and this, Tricia, part of the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is I've seen some of these upper-end homes, they're starting to sit a little bit longer. That's making me nervous. But, hey, Nathan, like you were saying earlier, is it just that time of year? Is it just the season? Is it just November going into December? I don't know. But we've gotten to a point of uncertainty for me, knowing for sure at that price point if we'll continue to be able to sell them. Because once you get to $450, you're going to $500.
Absolutely.
So how much, Trisha Moore, how much more will the buyers, will the market, how will they keep paying it? I think in this price point up top, I don't know if they'll keep doing it. It may cause a little bit of a slowdown. I do think we'll sell the same amount of houses. I do think the overall market will be up, but I'm thinking the higher price point is going to be a little more flat. As long as they can keep turning product, we'll be fine. And maybe, next year maybe we can get a little bit up, but it's so hard to predict 12 months or more. So hey, Nathan, Jamie, cousin Charlie, Lisa, Kathleen, all those other people back there. I don't know your names, but I appreciate everybody coming in here today. Please share the stream. Please comment. Everybody that participated, I really do appreciate it. Everybody, have a great day. Look forward to my show tomorrow night. I don't know what it's going to be about, straight from the gut. Kathleen, can you go ahead and log us off of that right there, please? Everybody, thank you so much. Have a great day. Hey, did you get it? YouTubers, how do you do? Did you go ahead and post?